This incident took place around mid-November of last year. At the time, I had recently been laid off due to company-wide budget cuts. Fortunately, I had some savings to support myself while I searched for new employment. For several weeks, I remained at home, sifting through job listings on my laptop. After about 2 weeks, frustration began to set in. I had already applied to every position that interested me and hadn't heard back from a single one. That's when I decided to expand my search to some lesser-known job boards. To my surprise, I came across a few new listings and applied. Later that same day, I received an email response from a manager named Zach. In the email, Zach mentioned that his schedule was tight, but he was hoping to conduct an interview that very night, if possible. Although I wasn't fully prepared, I didn't want to miss a potential opportunity, so I agreed. I figured attending an interview on short notice might even demonstrate my dedication. The role appeared to be a standard sales job with a promising salary. Zach sent me the address and asked me to arrive at 7:30 p.m. I got ready and left early, arriving about 15 minutes ahead of schedule. I hadn't had the chance to research the company beforehand, so I didn't really know what to expect. The address led me to a small building with no identifying signage, just a number on the wall. The place looked more like a regular office building, but it was completely dark inside, and the parking lot was completely empty. Feeling uneasy, I double-checked the address and even searched it online. It matched the location, but the building didn't have a name or listing on Google. I then called the phone number Zach had provided in his email, but he didn't answer. I tried calling several more times with no luck. I waited until 7:45 p.m. before deciding to leave. Something about the dark, empty building and the radio silence from Zach felt incredibly suspicious. Looking back, I realized I should have been more alert to potential red flags. When I got home, I was annoyed by the wasted trip, but decided to move on. I resolved to stick with the more reputable job sites going forward and continue my search the next day. I wasn't sure if Zach had accidentally given me the wrong address, or if there was something else going on, but I didn't dwell on it. I grabbed a beer from the fridge, sat down on the couch, cracked it open, and turned on the TV. Without a job to wake up early for, I relaxed and watched TV until I started getting sleepy. Throughout the evening, though, I kept hearing faint creaks coming from upstairs. I looked outside a few times to check if it was windy, but the weather was calm. The creaking didn't seem too unusual, so I wasn't alarmed. Around 10 p.m., I turned off the TV and lights and headed up to my bedroom. The last thing I remember was lying down and quickly falling asleep until something woke me up suddenly. I opened my eyes in complete darkness and laid still, listening. That same creaking sound I had heard earlier was now much closer, somewhere on the other side of the room. With my tired eyes barely adjusting to the dark, I turned toward the noise and heard a soft sliding sound. It was unmistakably the sound of my closet door opening slowly. My eyes began to widen as I saw the outline of the door shifting. I felt paralyzed, stuck in place, unable to move or react. I wasn't sure if this was real or a dream. That uncertainty ended the moment the door stopped moving and a shadowy figure leaned out from behind it. That's when my body finally reacted. I grabbed my phone and jumped out of bed, moving to the opposite side of the room from the closet. The figure remained motionless, just staring at me, as if hoping I hadn't noticed him. Now fully awake, I was certain what I was seeing was real. I bolted out of the room and exited the house with the dogs close behind. While on the phone with 911, I stood in my front yard, keeping a close eye on the front door and staircase inside. I didn't want whoever it was to get away. I realized it might not have been the safest choice. Whoever was inside could have been armed or dangerous. Still, I waited until 2 police officers arrived. I told them what I saw and where I last saw the intruder. They entered the house and found him, still hiding inside my closet. When they pulled him out and led him to the police car, I was horrified by his appearance. His long hair was oily and messy, his clothes filthy, and he had an unsettling stare with wide, expressionless eyes. He never explained what he was doing or why, but the police investigation uncovered the full story within a few days. The man had created fake job postings across multiple websites, hundreds of them, all advertising different types of roles. Disturbingly, he had all my personal information from the resume I had sent in. He knew exactly when I'd leave my house for the interview, and he used that opportunity to break in. He had spent the entire night inside my home, just feet away from me while I slept. To this day, we still don't know exactly what he was planning to do. Since he refused to talk, there's no way to know what might have happened if I hadn't woken up when I did. I was house-sitting for my friend that weekend while she was traveling with her family. She had a skittish cat named Molly who hated thunderstorms, and the forecast predicted severe weather. Though normally independent, Molly typically just lounged in whatever room she pleased. The storm began the day before my friend left and raged nonstop through the weekend. Saturday passed without incident. I spent the night there peacefully, and Molly handled the storm better than expected. The next morning, I relaxed on her cozy couch, enjoying a book. Her secluded woodland home always felt so tranquil. Around midday, the landline rang. This was back when home phones were still common. Thinking it might be my friend, I checked the caller ID. Unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. Minutes later, it rang again. Same caller. This time, a hushed male voice left a message. Sarah? Just my friend's name, spoken like a question. Then silence before the call disconnected. I texted Sarah to let her know, assuming it might be a relative or someone she knew. Still, the unknown label unsettled me. Over the next 3 hours, 2 more calls came from the same number. No messages this time. Sarah never replied, likely busy with her trip. I shrugged it off. By evening, I settled in upstairs to watch a movie. Halfway through, I remembered to check on Molly. Downstairs, I found her fixated on the front door, staring at the gap beneath it like she expected someone to enter. Molly? She glanced at me briefly before returning her focus to the door. Uneasy, I peered through the peephole. Rain had fogged the glass, blurring the porch. Then, movement. A shadow shifted outside. My pulse quickened. I kept watching, straining to see clearly. 2 or 3 minutes passed with no further motion. Maybe I was imagining things? If someone were out there, surely they'd have knocked by now. I stepped away to refill Molly's bowls and grab snacks. When I passed the door again, Molly was gone. I checked the peephole once more. Something was different. The foggy silhouette I'd seen earlier had vanished. Had someone really been standing there? Spooked, I carried Molly upstairs and locked us in the bedroom. I tried to focus on the movie, but dread clung to me. 30 minutes in, Molly leaped off the bed and stalked to the door, staring at the threshold, just like she had downstairs. My stomach dropped. Molly? She didn't meow or scratch, just watched. Trembling, I pressed my ear to the door. Nothing. Then I crouched, peering under the gap. A pair of shoes stood inches away. I recoiled. The doorknob unlocked. I slammed the bolt shut. Almost instantly, footsteps thudded away, down the stairs. Silence followed. I called 911, then Sarah. Police found no one, but evidence suggested a stalker, likely the same person who'd called. They traced nothing. Whoever it was, they weren't after me. Had they expected the house to be empty? Did they plan to ambush Sarah when she returned? We never got answers.